Hey there, TRASTRA fans. Here's what's coming in episode 112 of your beloved TRASTA Newsreel. Morgan Stanley is making waves with a $207 million investment in Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. The state of Wisconsin Investment Board, Wells Fargo, and JP Morgan are also joining the game, all making hefty moves into Bitcoin via spot ETFs. We'll discuss that. Adrian Harris, New York's financial regulator, is cautiously optimistic about federal stablecoin regulations, but insists on the importance of state authority. Meanwhile, financial academic Arthur E. Walmarth Jr. raises alarm bells about the proposed Loomis-Gillibrand stablecoin bill, fearing it could lead to significant risks without proper federal oversight. It's actually a fascinating write-up. We'll discuss that at length, so get ready. On the DeFi front, MakerDAO's Rune Christensen introduces stablecoins, New Stable, and Pure DAI, and the sector as a whole sees an $11.89 billion boost, with Eigenlayer leading the charge. Chinese authorities dismantle a $2 billion underground banking network using USDT for illegal transactions. What's new? Genesis Global is set to return $3 billion to its clients, while FTX aims to distribute $16.3 billion, surpassing what's owed and even paying interest, a generally unusual twist in bankruptcies, let alone crypto bankruptcies. We'll talk about that. Laos, a tiny South Asian nation, faces power shortages due to a surge in crypto mining, impacting its hydropower exports, and Ripple's XRP sees a price surge as it plans expansion into Africa. I mean, they pass it on as the reason, which I think is perfectly valid. We'll discuss that. Binance executive Tigran Gambaryan remains in custody in Nigeria. He sits in Nigerian prison, literally, over money laundering charges. And Alexei Pertsev, the developer of Tornado Cash, gets 5 years and 4 months for laundering $1.2 billion, and much, much more. So stay tuned and let's get started. Welcome to episode 112 of your beloved TRASTA Newsreel. Morgan Stanley, a major Wall Street firm with $1.5 trillion in assets under management, has disclosed a $270 million investment in Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust, GBTC, better known as GBTC. This positions Morgan Stanley as one of the largest institutional holders of GBTC, alongside Susquehanna, which holds $1.8 billion. Recent SEC filings have revealed that several significant financial institutions, including the state of Wisconsin Investment Board, Wells Fargo, and JP Morgan, are investing heavily in Bitcoin via spot Bitcoin ETFs. Well, we know the drill. Adrian Harris, superintendent of the New York State Department of Financial Services, expressed optimism about a federal stablecoin regulatory deal, but emphasized the importance of maintaining state authority. Speaking at the Future of Finance conference, Harris highlighted the DFS's comprehensive regulatory framework established in 2015 and its ongoing efforts to regulate stablecoins, including the approval of Paxos and the Solana blockchain. Harris argued that removing state authority in favor of federal regulation would create chaos and discard nearly a decade of DFS's expertise. Harris also touched on broader regulatory concerns, such as banking and liquidity regulations, especially in light of rapid withdrawal capabilities enabled by mobile banking, exemplified by the swift deposit outflow during the Signature Bank crisis. We all remember that. However, the financial academia does not share Adrian Harris's optimism, particularly Arthur E. Walmarth Jr., Professor Emeritus of Law at George Washington University Law School, critiqued the Loomis-Gillibrand stablecoin bill proposed in late April, as you can remember, arguing it would establish a weak regulatory framework, exposing consumers, investors, and the financial system to significant risks. Walmarth feels that stablecoins have historically been unstable, experiencing frequent depeggings during market shocks such as Stereo USD, FTX and Silicon Valley Bank collapses. Walmarth highlighted that the bill would allow state-chartered and federally chartered trust companies to issue stablecoins without federal deposit insurance or robust federal regulation. He warns that could lead to systemic runs on stablecoins similar to historical runs on uninsured deposits, potentially triggering financial crises. Walmarth urged Congress to reject the Loomis-Gillibrand bill and support legislation maintaining that all stablecoin issuers be FDIC-insured banks. I've been saying this probably for about the last 5-7 years. I mean, they can't stop Bitcoin, but what they can do is they can issue some sort of regulation that requires banks to be FDIC insured before they get into crypto. I think this is what's coming, so just be aware of that. But as usual, DeFi simply doesn't care. MakerDAO's founder, Rune Christensen, unveiled two new stablecoins. These are the names of the stablecoins, New Stable and Pure DAI, as part of the protocol's endgame plan. It's kind of controversial, but this initiative seeks to balance decentralization with practical utility. What is that? Aiming to eventually replace DAI, which currently has a $5.4 billion market cap. Christensen's announcement on May 15th outlines this bullshit stablecoin trilemma. You know, the challenge of maintaining a stable peg while being fully decentralized, which in my view is absolutely impossible, and scalable. So New Stable stablecoin will focus on growth, yield, and resilience backed by real-world assets, and featuring a freeze function pending governance approval. DAI will continue to operate, but can be upgraded to New Stable. Pure DAI aims to return to the project's ideological roots, emphasizing complete decentralization with minimal governance, relying on decentralized collateral like ETH and staked ETH, apparently considering them real-world assets. This is so much bullshit in that. Jesus. Anyway, Chinese authorities have dismantled a large underground banking gang accused of using nearly $2 billion worth of tether for illegal transactions. The operation, spanning 26 provinces, resulted in the arrest of 193 suspects. The gang allegedly used USDT to bypass China's foreign exchange regulations, enabling criminals to transfer funds abroad. Authorities had already destroyed 2 gang bases in Fujian and Hunan in 2023, freezing $20.6 million linked to the gang. The group's activities included financial fraud, job-related crimes, drug management obstruction, smuggling, credit card fraud, and export tax refund fraud. Zooming out a bit, the United Nations has already highlighted USDT's role in a parallel banking system used by organized crime in Southeast Asia, especially in illegal online gambling. Additionally, USDT has been linked to paying gold smugglers in Nepal who transported gold and returned with cash and other valuable goods. Jesus, where all the movies are. A US bankruptcy judge has approved Genesis Global's plan to return approximately $3 billion in cash and cryptocurrency to its clients, and as part of its Chapter 11 liquidation. This decision leaves Genesis owner Digital Currency Group without any recovery from the bankruptcy. DCG's lawyers argued that Genesis should pay based on the value of crypto assets in January 2023 was overruled. The judge emphasized that Genesis must pay other creditors, including federal and state regulators whose claims total $32 billion. Genesis plans to return funds to customers in cryptocurrency where possible, but lacks sufficient cryptocurrency to fully settle debts. The firm estimated it could pay up to 77% of customer claims, depending on future price fluctuations. In contrast, bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange FTX is set to distribute $16.3 billion in cash to its creditors, exceeding what is owed by $5.3 billion, and plans to pay interest to its 2 million customers. An uncommon outcome in US bankruptcies, in any bankruptcy for that matter. So I wonder if there are some sort of underwater stones in there. I think there's some fine print. There's got to be some fine print. A report from May 16th highlights that increased electricity consumption due to a surge in crypto mining and inconsistent rainfall have led to power shortages in Laos, challenging its reputation as a major hydropower exporter in Southeast Asia. Reuters reported that crypto mining, which consumes over a third of Laos' power and extended drought, has strained the power grid. Sombon Singh Jarath, Jesus, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name, from Électricité du Laos, noted that the country has had to import more electricity, raising costs for the state-run utility. XRP's price surged 9% to 0.53 cents on May 17th, driven by Ripple Labs' announcement of plans to expand operations in Africa. Over the past week, XRP rose by 1%, and over the last 30 days, it increased by 3.5%, despite a modest 16% gain over the past year compared to other major tokens. Additionally, the conclusion of the Ripple SEC case, expected soon, could lead to a settlement fine, but ultimately allow Ripple to focus on growth. This combination of factors suggests a positive outlook for XRP, with some analysts predicting it could reach $1 by the end of 2024. Just so you know, TRASTRA supports XRP. Wink, wink. So, you know how they say you wouldn't want to be caught with your pants down at a Nigerian prison? Well, the Federal High Court of Nigeria has denied bail to Binance executive Tigran Gambaryan amid a $35 million money laundering and tax violation trial. Justice Emeka Nwite ruled that Gambarian, deemed a flight risk, should remain in custody. Gambarian, head of financial crime compliance at Binance, has been in Nigeria since February to discuss the company's operations with the government and pleaded not guilty to the charges on April 8th. Binance CEO Richard Tang has called for Gambarian's release, asserting his innocence and criticizing the detention as setting a dangerous precedent. Interestingly, Gambarian was detained alongside Nadeem Ajarwala, Binance's Africa regional manager, who later escaped custody, actually fled. He busted out of prison. Here's something really not funny. Alexei Pertsev, the developer of the cryptocurrency mixing protocol Tornado Cash, has been found guilty of money laundering, raising potentially severe implications for open source code developers. Pertsev was sentenced to 5 years and 4 months in prison for allegedly laundering $1.2 billion worth of illicit assets on the platform. Well, it's too bad anyway. And finally, the Department of Justice indicted 2 MIT-educated brothers, James and Anton, my namesake, Anton Pereira Bueno, both in mid-20s, they're young dudes, for allegedly orchestrating a $25 million cryptocurrency theft within 12 seconds. The fraud involved posing as Ethereum validators and using bots to intercept transactions. Despite some funds being frozen, they converted the remainder to DAI tokens and used shell companies and foreign exchanges to conceal their activities. I mean, they should be getting a medal, some sort of an intellectual award, rather than, being arrested for that kind of stuff. The brothers were charged with wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud, facing up to 20 years in prison per count. They were arrested in New York and Boston with bail set at $250,000 each. Like I said, I mean, obviously these guys are very smart. I think it's a crying shame that they have to be arrested and prosecuted criminally. I think it's just a much better way to deal with these things is to assign some community service to them, like teach, I don't know, underprivileged kids finances and stuff like that. And do it for like 20 years, you get like basic seller in some community college somewhere in a really rough area of New York or Atlanta or Baltimore, and have them teach kids about money and tokens and all that stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you will follow us on social. Please join our Telegram community, and I will see you in another video. Peace.